All right, college football fans, the moment you have all been waiting for, me doing the college football playoff bracket challenge for the first time. So, first off, I did my Bowl Mania prediction of all the non playoff games. Okay? So I saved this. I've saved the playoff games for a separate video because they have this bracket challenge. So that is what this video is about. So let's get right into it. I'll put the link in the description. So if you want to do your bracket challenge, you can click below. Alright. Here we go. Alright, so this is my entry. I can make up to 2 brackets, so I'll probably do that. Alright, and the most picked champions. So we got 41.4% picked Oregon as the champ, 21.4% picked Georgia as the champ, and 12.8% picked Texas as the champ. Okay, let's do my bracket challenge right now. Here it is. So, the first game is this one right here on the 20th between Indiana and Notre Dame. This is the first round, okay? And if you click on preview, it'll show you the matchup predictor according to ESPN. So you can see Notre Dame has a 70.3% chance of winning. Indiana 29.7% chance of winning. And also the first round playoff games are on campus. So in this case, Notre Dame is the home team. The game is at Notre Dame Stadium. And look at the weather. The weather is the key factor in this because it's winter season, December 20th. It's cold, 27 degrees. All right. So I'm going to go by each game and make my picks. Okay. So Indiana, how about the Indiana Hoosiers? This is their best season ever. Although people are saying they didn't have a tough schedule, blah blah blah. I get it. They have one loss. Their one loss is to Ohio State, and they lost by quite a bit. It wasn't a close game. But they are 11-1. They're in the Big Ten, so I think they deserve to be in the playoff. But they have a tough matchup against Notre Dame. Notre Dame also has one loss, and that was their second game against Northern Illinois, probably the upset of the year. And here they are. They've won all their games after that loss, and they are the home team. So, and then before I make my pick for this game, you have 4 teams with a bye. Number 1, Oregon. Number 2, Georgia. Number 3, Boise State. And number 4, Arizona State. Those 4 teams are in the quarterfinals in the New Year's bowl games at a neutral stadiums. But the first round, all these games are on campus. Okay, so Indiana against Notre Dame. Notre Dame is in Indiana, so you'd think those two teams would play each other more often, but no. I've heard the last time they faced each other was the early 90s, like at least 30 years ago. But I am going to pick Notre Dame to win this game here. I think they're a much better team, in my opinion. But it might be a low-scoring game. I think Notre Dame, they might win by, 10 points, 2 scores. So I have them advancing to the quarterfinals. So that is on Friday night. And then The three other first round matchups are on Saturday, the 21st. The first one is this one, and SMU against Penn State. All right. So Penn State has the home game. All right. Let's click on the preview for this one. Penn State with a 67.1% chance. And the weather is going to be very cold there, 27 degrees. All right. SMU, they're in the ACC, which is kind of weird because they're in Dallas. You think they would be in the Big 12. But their first year in the ACC, they made it to their conference championship game. And some people are saying SMU should be out of the playoff because they lost their conference championship game. I think they should be in. So I'm glad SMU is in, but they have to face a tough Penn State team. Penn State is in the Big Ten, and they were in the Big Ten championship game, but they lost to Oregon. But they put up a lot of points on the board. And, yeah. The weird thing is some of these games are on TNT, and I don't know why. I'm not sure who are the announcers going to be. I wonder if it's like the CBS announcers, because TNT, CBS, TBS, they're all part of Turner Sports, but I think it's called TNT Sports now. But it's kind of weird having a football game on TNT. You know, TNT, they're well known for basketball, AEW wrestling, and a couple years ago they have the NHL on there. Now they're having three playoff football games. Anyways, I think SMU will put up a fight in the first half, but I don't know. I think Penn State is a better team. I think they're going to win this game here. So I have Penn State advancing to the quarterfinals. All right, the game in the afternoon is Clemson against Texas in Austin, Texas. Let's take a look at the preview of this. Texas, 80.4% chance. And it'll be much warmer there, 57 degrees, according to AccuWeather. This will be a very interesting matchup. You got the ACC champions. That's right, Clemson. And it's weird because we all thought a couple weeks ago, or at least after they lost to South Carolina, they would be out of the playoff. But here they are as the number 12 seed, the last spot in the playoff, taking on a team that almost won their conference championship in the SEC. How about the Texas Longhorns? Their first year in the SEC and a great season. Their two losses were against the same team, the Georgia Bulldogs. How will Texas play in this matchup? I think this could be a much higher scoring game. It's hard to count out Dabo Swinney and the Clemson Tigers. Sam Acho from ESPN, he actually picked Clemson to win the national championship. I thought that was pretty crazy. That would be something if they can somehow win the national championship game. I think it will be a high-scoring game, but I think Texas is going to win their game. So far I have the home teams winning. And then the huge matchup, prime time, Tennessee against Ohio State. The preview, the matchup predictor has Ohio State winning this game, 65.5% chance. The game is in Columbus, so it is another cold game, 27 degrees. I thought, I really thought Ohio State would be undefeated. I had them beating Oregon in Eugene, and I thought, they were going to win all their games. They lost to Oregon by 1 point, and they lost to Michigan, a not so great Michigan team. I mean, I get it. It's rivalry. That's a big rivalry. But like, the game is in Columbus. That game was in Columbus, Ohio. But they're lucky because this is not a 4-team playoff anymore. They're taking on a tough Tennessee team that lost 2 games. They lost to Arkansas and Georgia. This ought to be interesting. This is where College Game Day is going to be. So, I think this will be a very, very close matchup. It's a 9 versus 8 seed. So, people are saying that Ryan Day, the head coach of Ohio State, might get fired if he loses this game. Because a lot of people were expecting him to go undefeated and be in the national championship game. The only way he can save his job is to get in the national championship game, which I kind of hope they do. I don't want Ryan Day to get fired. So, I don't know about this. Can Ryan Day and his team bounce back? I think they can. I think this will be a very close game, though. This game could go into overtime, but I do have Ohio State pulling this off. So I have all the home teams winning. So I'm gonna I'll make a second bracket, but this is like my first real official bracket. And now the quarterfinals. And these games will be in neutral sites on these bowl games. Okay? So we're going to start off with the Fiesta Bowl on New Year's Eve night in Arizona between Penn State and Boise State. So if you click on the preview, we don't know who's going to face Boise State, see? I have Penn State versus Boise State. Who would be the favorite? I think Penn State would be the favorite. We've seen Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl a couple of times. People are saying Boise State didn't deserve to have a bye because they're in a weak conference, but I think they are a pretty good team. They faced Oregon, and they were actually beating Oregon in the fourth quarter. They lost to them on a last-second field goal, so that assumes they are a great team. I will be cheering for Boise State, and I think America will also be cheering for Boise State. I think this will be a very close matchup. And you know what? Penn State's head coach, what's his name, James Franklin, for some reason he can't win the big ones. And look, I don't think he's going to win this one. I have Boise State advancing to the semifinals. Now on New Year's Day, we got the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl between Texas and Arizona State in Atlanta. So Texas is back in Atlanta, where they just lost to the Georgia Bulldogs in the SEC championship game. How about Arizona State? They are really the hot team right now. Easily, their first year in the Big 12, they easily won their conference championship game. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. Number 5 against number 4. Oh, man. This is a tough one. Because Texas, they're going back to Atlanta, where they just lost to the Georgia Bulldogs. And by the way, the national championship is also in Atlanta. I'm going to go with Arizona State to go to the semifinals. Oh boy, the Rose Bowl game. A rematch between Ohio State and Oregon. Wow, that is like the perfect Rose Bowl matchup you can ask for. And you know what? Just for the heck of it, it's hard to beat the same team twice, even though Georgia beat Texas twice. Oregon's a really good team, but I can see Ohio State making a comeback. So I guess I'm going to go with the so-called upset of Ohio State going to the semifinals. That's not good if you're Oregon. You have to face a good Tennessee or Ohio State team. I don't think that's fair. That's just my opinion. And then the last one, New Year's Eve night in the All-State Sugar Bowl in New Orleans between Notre Dame and Georgia. The big question is, how is Georgia's quarterback, Carson Beck? Will he be playing in this game? I don't know. I mean, there's still about 2 weeks until this game happens. But after Carson Beck got injured in the SEC championship game, right when the first half ended, Georgia came back and they tied the game. Game went into overtime. Or wait, no, I think Texas tied the game. I forgot, but the game went into overtime and Georgia still won. You know, I have to go with Georgia just because it's Kirby Smart's team. You know, I have them advancing to the semifinals. So the semifinals. The first one, January 9 at the Orange Bowl in Miami, Florida, between Boise State and Georgia. I think Georgia's a heavy favorite in this game. I'm going to pick Georgia to go back to Atlanta for the national championship game. And then the next night, the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic between Arizona State and Ohio State. It's funny how Arizona State just has the ST, but Ohio State has the actual word state on it. Arizona State and Ohio State in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. I think Ohio State can win this game. I'm going to go with them. And I have in the national championship game in Atlanta on January 20th, which is also Inauguration Day and Martin Luther King Day, which is crazy. Ohio State taking on Georgia, a rematch from 2 years ago that was also in Atlanta. This is hard because this is the first year in the playoff. That, by the way, I watched that game on New Year's Eve night between Ohio State and Georgia. That was like one of the best games ever. That was the real national championship game. So, here we are. If this is a national championship game, this is a rematch from 2 years ago. Ohio State against Georgia. Alright, I'm going to go with Georgia. It's in Atlanta, so I guess I'll go with them. This tiebreaker, I don't really answer this. I guess I will just for the heck of it. How many points will be scored in the 2024-2025 college football play? Oh no, not answering that. I thought that was only for the championship game. Never mind. So I have Georgia winning the national championship game in Atlanta. That would be kind of cool, though, to see them. Do I want them to win the national championship? No. I would like to see Ohio State make a run, maybe Clemson, Boise State. So, would be great if one of those three wins it. I don't know. I guess we'll see if Oregon really is the best team, which I guess they are. They're undefeated for a reason. So, there it is. Submit bracket. Congrats. Your pick to be the national champ is Georgia. let's create another bracket. This one, it'll just be, I guess, the opposite. Should I just do the opposite? Okay, I guess we'll do the opposite. Let's say Indiana upsets Notre Dame. Let's say SMU upsets Penn State. Let's say Tennessee beats Ohio State. Let's say Clemson upsets Texas. Well, Georgia's going to beat Indiana. SMU and Boise State. Let's go with SMU so we can have a different semifinal. Tennessee and Oregon. Let's go with Oregon. Clemson and Arizona State. Let's go with I guess Clemson, their Cinderella story. And let's go with Oregon. And let's go with Georgia, two best teams. And then I'll pick Oregon to win the national championship game. There we go. So I made two brackets just for the heck of it. So this is my two brackets. I don't know if I'm going to make a group for this because my main focus is really, well, this is really my main focus on in terms of watching the games on TV. But it's always have been on here. It's usually Bowl Mania. So how do I? Okay. All right. So as of this recording, 2 games have happened. Okay. If you missed these 2 games, that's okay because there's 45 more games to go. The next one's on Tuesday night. All right. And this is my group that I'm in. If you want to join my group, this is the name of the group, Football Means Business. I got 9 entries. And this other group is one of my YouTube subscribers, Johnny Sports Network. I'm in his group as well. But for the playoff bracket challenge, I don't know if I'm going to make a group for that. If I do, I guess I'll put that in the link or in the comments section. So, yeah, guys. Let me know what you think. Who do you have in your bracket? Who do you have going to the national championship? Who do you have winning the national championship? We shall see what happens in this 12-team playoff format. I hope it's a success because for the past 10 years it was the 4-team playoff format. 4 teams, 4, not 14, 4-team. Okay? I know it kind of sounds alike. And for years I've been saying it should be 8. It should be 8 teams in the playoff. But you're going from 4 to 12. I find that kind of weird when they first announced that, hey, we're going to 12 teams. Why can't you go to 8 first and then 12? You know, that's a big jump. Because 12, you have 4 teams with a bye. If you have 8 teams, no team gets a bye. That would be better in my opinion. But people are saying, oh, in a couple years it'll go to 16, you know. It's like no matter what they do, people are unhappy. It is what it is. But I think this year's playoff will be very interesting. I think it'll be great. So, yeah. Alright, guys. Thank you for watching and enjoy the college football playoff.